With the Adelaide Fringe bustling with circus acts, comedians and cabaret performances, I spoke with the artist behind Floral Peroxide, the only show in this year's Fringe centred around slam poetry. Alison Paradoxx is the 2016 Essay Slam Poetry Champion and uses her show to illustrate the trauma that entails living with deformity, as well as to destigmatise the idea of being disabled through performance poetry, sound and elaborate costuming.
It's a multimedia experience that deals with disability and identity and reclaiming one's own self-narrative. The name I've sort of chosen as a stage persona, Alison Paradoxx, is that I feel that all humans, regardless of being disabled or able-bodied, we're all paradoxes. We all have very contrasting facets of our personalities.
She's a vacuumed up rainbow, tiptoeing on eggshells with sledgehammers for shoes. She's a vacuumed up rainbow.
Floral Peroxide comes from a poem that we actually do in the show that turned into a sound piece with my partner, 5000 AD.
And the constant sting of blood test to my bruised and swollen limbs are as gentle as gunfire in a library. A cricket bat to the head, a sledgehammer to a watermelon, a vacuum to a rainbow. My existence should have come with a warning label.
When you have disabilities and chronic health issues and chronic pain, there's always a side of you that's very confronting, sometimes very angry, but then we all have the other side of us that is a very soft, gentle, welcoming side. So Floral Peroxide is basically that summed up in a title because it's two words that I felt were so contrasting. Floral was so gentle and passive, and peroxide so caustic and burning. And
though I never usually talk about my sickness with others, today I just couldn't help but feel as though my existence should have come with a fucking warning label.
I've got quite a complex health history. I was born with a genetic disease called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Mine manifested into a spinal scoliosis. By the time it was surgically operated on, it was 62 degrees and 62 degrees in two opposing ways. So if it hadn't have been operated on, I would have had heart failure and other organ failure because it's squashing all your organs. Well, there's steel rods and bolts in my spine from 312 of my vertebrae, and it creates an incredible amount of pain. But the other thing about hypermobile Ehlers-Danlos is that it is a connective tissue disease. So it affects basically every system in your body. Here's the thing, I got diagnosed officially last year. So it was particularly difficult as people think it's not actually happening. But to add further layers of complexity, I was involved in a house fire at the age of 4, suffered really, really bad burns to probably about 75% of my scalp, my head, so all my hair follicles on that part of my head were completely destroyed. So I had to have surgeries from the age of 4 up until the age of 15 in the craniofacial unit. So I grew up with what other people might consider deformity, and that was hidden very well. You know, I wore hats all the time, and it was always kind of something I kept secret as a teenager because there was a lot of shame around it for me. At the age of 18, I developed a severe eating disorder, anorexia, and that continued on for a good 20 odd years of my life. At my lowest point, I hit 25, 26 kilos. And I think the fact that I'm still standing here today, I feel incredibly blessed. But obviously, all of those things in combination have taken an incredible toll on my body as a 41-year-old woman. So from the outside, I might look like things are fine, but things on the inside really aren't. So for me, I think being able to express that pain in a way that was empowering and not just like, oh, poor me, my life's shit, you know, because it's not. I've got really amazing things in my life. It's just that I have a lot of debilitating pain and constant hospitalizations and things. But you know what? I'm alive. You know, that to me is all I could ask for after all of going through all of that and still coming out alive, and then being able to create something from that, I think is a really empowering experience for me.